My mom told me to stay home for the lake weekend, so I showed up with her neighbor's son. The lake house is too crowded with your brother's kids, Mom texted. Stay home this year. I laughed reading it while sitting in Jason's kitchen, watching him flip pancakes with no shirt on. Mom had no idea I'd been secretly dating her neighbor's son for 6 months. To my family, I'm the permanent spinster sister. I'm 29, too picky, too career-focused, and somehow every holiday turns into a group interview about my love life. Meanwhile, my brother Andrew gets applause for remembering ketchup, and his wife, Victoria, posts perfect family photos 5 minutes after yelling at their twins. Last December, after another awful dating app meetup, I was stress eating a muffin at the downtown coffee shop. A guy asked if he could share my table because the cafe was packed. He was tall, calm, and he actually listened to what I was saying. We talked for 4 hours. At one point, he joked about living by a lake where the neighbors were dramatic and always hosting loud family weekends. I almost choked on my latte. What lake? I asked. He said my parents' lake. Jason Morrison, the youngest son of the Morrisons next door, the lovely but private family my mom always talked about. My brain short-circuited, but my heart didn't. After that, we kept meeting, and it got serious fast. Jason wanted to tell his parents first, but they were traveling through Europe for months, so we waited. And honestly, the secrecy made it fun. We went to restaurants in the next town. We took weekend trips where nobody knew our last names. When my mom asked why I never brought anyone home, I'd just shrug and let her assume the worst. Then, yesterday, Jason's parents finally got back from Italy. This morning, Mom's "stay home" text popped up, and I looked at Jason sliding a plate toward me like I belonged there. I made a decision. I texted back, "Actually, I'm coming, and I'm bringing someone special." My phone rang so fast, it might as well have teleported. "Madison Louise, you cannot spring a guest on us," Mom snapped. "There's no room. Andrew and Victoria need the master bedroom. The twins have your old room, and the den has the baby stuff." "Don't worry," I said, keeping my voice sweet while Jason pretended not to listen. "We're staying next door." Silence. Then, "Next door? The Morrisons don't rent their place." "I know," I said. "Just trust me." Jason whispered, "Are you sure?" I nodded and started shoving clothes into my bag. He grabbed the keys, then paused and said, "If this blows up, I'm not letting you take it alone." On the drive over, my stomach kept flipping, but he kept tapping my knee like a quiet promise. 2 hours later, I pulled into Jason's circular driveway with my overnight bag. Their lake house was modern and spotless, with a huge deck that made my parents' place look like an old fishing cabin. Across the yard, Mom was watering her garden. She waved at me, confused, like she was trying to place why I was there. Jason walked out in a button-down, took my bag, and kissed me right on his front porch. I have never seen my mother drop a hose so fast. Water sprayed her shoes while her mouth hung open. "Madison!" she called, voice cracking. "What is happening?" "Mom, meet Jason Morrison," I called back. "We're dating." Jason gave a polite little wave. "Hi, Mrs. Sullivan. Sorry for the surprise." Right then, Andrew's minivan rolled up like it was on cue. He jumped out, already yelling at the kids to stop kicking each other. He froze when he saw Jason's arm around my waist. "Why are you at the— Wait, is that—" Mom just stood there dripping, staring between us like her brain couldn't pick a sentence. Before anyone could recover, the front door opened again. A couple stepped out with suitcases, still wearing travel clothes. Jason's mom, Margaret, spotted me and lit up. "You must be Madison," she said, rushing over and pulling me into a hug like we'd known each other forever. "We've been dying to meet you. Jason hasn't stopped talking about you." Tom Morrison shook my hand and smiled at my mom like this was the most normal thing in the world. "We were trying to figure out the best way to introduce her," he said. Jason squeezed my fingers. Andrew finally found his voice. "You've been dating the neighbor for how long?" "6 months, Jason said. Mom turned to me, eyes wide. "Madison, why didn't you tell us?" I looked right back at her. "You never asked. You just decided I was going to be alone." Mom's face went pale, and the yard went dead quiet, except for the kids whining in the minivan.